Do you want godly kids? I mean, kids that are all in, committed to their faith, run after God into their teen years, into their adult years, and beyond. If that is what you're seeking, this video is for you. Hi, I'm Nancy Marie Peterson. I've been a mom for 3 decades almost. I have homeschooled 6 kids. I have 5 that have graduated and I have 1 left. I love being intentional. If there's one thing that describes who I am, it's intentionality, is doing the things on purpose for a purpose. And it's not just because of who I am, it's because it's who God created me to be. It's my way to honor God back for the blessings He has given me in my life. And that rolls over to motherhood. And that's why I wrote the book, Intentional Mom, Unshakable Faith, because I believe that it's our calling as mom to raise kids who will love and chase after God, who will have dreams and visions and excitement and a calling on their life, and they're going to lean into it. And that is what I want for you as well, for your kids. And I think you do too, because you clicked into this video. But how do I get there? So many years I was struggling. I was just getting through the day. And whether I was nursing babies or pregnant or throwing up, I was struggling. And I wanted to do this motherhood better. I wanted to do it more intentional. I wanted to utilize the giftings that God had given me. But I felt like every day was mundane and every day was boring and every day I was failing and every day I got it wrong. But here's the truth. Every day I showed up. Every day I loved on my kids. Every day I hugged and snuggled them and I spoke life into them and I spoke truth into them and I pointed them to Jesus and I talked about my failures and I talked about who we are as a family and who we want to be as a family. And that took us on the journey of missions, and that took me on the journey of writing the book, Intentional Mom, Unshakable Faith, not because I have it all together, because I don't. Not because I have perfect kids, because I don't. But I have kids who actually, honestly, love God and are wholeheartedly serving Him, whether it's in a youth group, on the mission field, in their own profession, whether it's at their home, being a mom themselves. They are actively walking out their faith in a global sense, in a neighborhood community sense. They're active in their faith. And that was my heart's desire. That was my dream. That's what I wanted every day when I showed up, and I would pray with them and I would take them to church and we would pray and read the Bible and we talk about God, and I would do it little by little and I would pour into them and I would just trust that God was going to develop these kids into the children He needed them to be. And that is exactly where we are today. 30 years later, I can look back over my life and realize those baby steps, those little moments that didn't seem very significant, seemed kind of mundane, and seemed not really important, were the important milestones, were the important baby steps. And so if you're a mother and you're wondering, am I doing enough? What do I need to do? I remember looking for catechism books. I was looking for books that I could share the big understanding of who God is. Am I giving them enough? Can they hold on to that truth? And I think some of the truths that I have now learned later on in life, two of the most important things is you model it. You need to have it, because you can't share a faith that is dull and unexciting. Why would they want that? And so you need to step in and be that vibrant, Christian, loving, following after God, all in mom. And that's hard in the mundane moments in the household. The second part is they need to know that life isn't perfect, because if they live a fairly perfect life and everything goes smoothly, the first time they get struggles when they become an adult, they're going to doubt God and they're going to wonder where He is, and it'll mess with their faith. You need to learn that struggling is part of human nature, is part of the human journey that we're on. God doesn't promise us this life with no complications and everything's going to be perfect. And that's where I think sometimes our adulting kids miss it, because they think that mentality of, well, where is God now? He's in the suffering. He's in all of it. And I think when we walked through a season of really hardship, when my son was diagnosed with cancer, and we walked through that horrific journey as we got fully healed. We have walked through a journey of both my in-laws passing away. We walked through the journey of moving out of a community that we loved, a church that we were fully committed to, onto the mission field. And that was hard, and it was a struggle, and it wasn't perfect. And there were days that I wanted to cry. Well, probably days that was crying, but I wanted to give up and go home. But it was in those struggles, in those hardships, that really solidified not only my faith, but the faith of my children. And so if you're wondering, how do I raise kids with a vibrant faith, with a faith that's going to go the distance and is going to follow after God with everything they have, you need to model it. You need to have a deep prayer life, that a deep commitment to God. You need to know who God is, because they're going to follow that. And you need to teach them that life isn't perfect, that hardships will come. Because if you teach them to follow after God, when those bumps come, they will continue to follow after God, because they're expecting it. They know that life isn't perfect. They know this side of heaven, we're not going to have a perfect, ideal life. And so if you are a mom and you want to be intentional, please grab that book, Intentional Mom, Unshakable Faith. It will help you with some strategies. They're not perfect. They're not manipulative. They are just some ideas that I used, and you can add your own to them, or you can take some of them away, whatever works for your family. But it will help you just really start thinking, how can I raise godly kids? How can I raise kids who chase after God and really grab their faith and walk it out without having to be rebellious, without having to go through all those seasons and stages that a lot of teenagers go through. We made really strategic choices as a family that I think helped solidify my kids' faith, but also help them in their journey walking towards adulthood. And I spell it all out in the book. And so check out that book, because I really feel like it was my failures and the things I struggled with, the things I chased after amazing homeschooling moms to find out what they were doing, and women that had godly kids, what were they doing? And I put it all together in this book. Now, I'm not a perfect mom. I don't have perfect kids, but I do have some strategies that I think will help you guide your kids to really chasing after God and having a fruitful life and a passionate life and an intentional life. And that's the most important thing, is that we want kids who are passionate about God and pass that passion on to others and love and serve the least of these. So, Mama, you stay intentional. And as you stay intentional, your kids will become intentional. And then they're going to carry that on in their life, because it's an expectation. My son and I were talking about goal setting, and he's just shocked when other families didn't push goals. It was like, you teach him to read, you teach him to do goals. Like it just made sense to him. But teach your kids to set goals, teach your kids to have, and that's all in the book. You'll find it in there. But I just want to encourage you, because there is no such thing as a perfect mom. There is no such thing as perfect kids. We fail, we fall on our knees, and we cry out to God, and he brings us back up, and he guides us, and he directs us. And this is your moment. God is picking you up and pointing you towards him. Not me. I don't have the answers, but he does. And he is faithful, and he is just, and he will give you exactly what you need when you need it. So, Mama, stay intentional. Stay focused on God, because that is how you will raise godly children. Check out that book. And if this has helped you, invite others, share this message so it can get out there. Not because I have something spectacular to say because of me. No, it's because of God's faithfulness in my life and in the journey that I have sacrificed and pointed to him and failed and learned and grown. And I just want to pass that on to you. All right. As always, stay intentional, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.